feed my diabetic cat.
All right. So whenever you we're live, by the way, but whenever we're done here, we'll just give like if you want, or I give you like an extra 10 or 15 minutes. That good? Or you need more?
No, I just need like 10 minutes.
All right. We'll take 15. There you go. All right, guys. Welcome to Just Your Average Joe. Welcome to the channel. We are about to, hopefully you know by the thumbnail, but we are about to do a spoiler review of the newly released. I mean, it was released about 2 weeks ago for Ghostbusters Afterlife. I seen it opening night. I couldn't wait to see it. I've been waiting for this film ever since it was teased a little over a year ago. Big Ghostbusters fan of the original. You know, I'm old enough to remember it when it first came out. I was 6 when I watched it, I think, or maybe 7. I might have watched it a year after on VHS because I definitely didn't see it in the movies. But I loved it. Enjoyed the second one. Not as much as the first one, but enjoyed it. And of course, you know, the cartoon that was on, the real Ghostbusters. Wasn't crazy about the other Ghostbusters with Tracy, the gorilla, or whatever it was. I got a little stupid. But anyway, as was teased or as was known for many months that we were going to get the original cast back in some capacity, along with new faces. I couldn't wait to see it, and I saw it, and we're about to talk about it. I'm gonna go last because I want to see how you thought about the film first. First of all, before going in, what were your expectations?
My expectations were I thought it was going to be really good from just all the commercials. And Paul Rudd is just, again, I can't say this enough. He's a national treasure.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, he rarely can do anything wrong, Paul Rudd.
Or in my eyes, anyways. So I expected it to be phenomenal. So,
although I will say this really quick about Paul Rudd. I don't know if you watched it. I might go back. I stopped it because I'm really not that interested in it. Not therapist. What is it called? The Apple Plus show with him and Will Ferrell. Is it Therapist Next Door or something like that? Did you see that?
No.
Not crazy about it. So I kind of go back on my word about Paul Rudd can do no wrong. But other than that, Paul Rudd's great.
Yeah, Paul Rudd's great. So yeah, I thought it was going to be great. Yeah. Those were my expectations.
That was your expectations?
Yeah. Yes.
How'd you feel?
Your question, Joe?
How'd you feel about the movie?
So, here's my feelings. So, I'm just going to be completely honest. I actually wrote it down so I don't trip on my words.
Don't trip.
So, I think that it's if you know, because the son is the one who directed the movie, right? The father was the original one.
Yes.
So I felt like it was a very nice homage to his dad. You could obviously tell that he was very close to this movie.
Yes.
Okay? So it was great in that aspect of it. The movie was very fun. It had such cute elements to it. The cast was phenomenal. Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd, McKenna Grace, the kid from Stranger Things, and the little podcast kid. And I love how that generation, like even the kids played, the older Ghostbusters, who they're gonna pick up, or the cast they pick up really well from the older Ghostbusters, like their personas and things like that. I like that. Paul Rudd, hilarious. I love that tie-in. I loved everything about it. Those little Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, adorable. I love the little parallels between an old movie. Now, when I'm sitting there watching it, I'm like, haven't I already seen this damn movie before? So after it was all done, like said and done, I'm like, wait, what is happening? Like all the characters, like the ghost sides, they were just an exact mimic of the Ghostbusters. And I'm just like, so that was my huge issue with the movie. I just felt like this didn't feel like it was coming off of the movies like it was supposed to feel. It just felt like an exact mirror match with different characters in it.
Mhm.
And if the older Ghostbusters weren't introduced into it, I wouldn't have felt like I was watching a different movie whatsoever.
Okay.
So that was
Yeah.
my feelings. And the end where they, tributed the cast member, the comedian who passed away, really touched my heart. And those little elements where he was a ghost, that was sweet. So there was sweet moments of it, funny, great. I enjoyed it. I did not hate this movie. I would give it a nice 7.5.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Look, you and I aren't that far apart. You
Yeah.
said exactly right. I mean, I had very high expectations. Start there. I thought it was treated with not only respect but treated with love coming
Yes.
from Jason Reitman. He wanted to make this a Ghostbusters film. He wanted to do first of all, they wanted to right the wrong of 2016. They wanted to pass on the legacy. They wanted to basically acknowledge that actually happened. 1984 happened. They also acknowledged 1989 in weird ways, but they also acknowledged Ghostbusters 2 as well. But and the ending to me, the ending with with Egon coming back as a ghost, and being a silhouette behind his granddaughter, and also standing side by side with the Ghostbusters. I'd be lying if I told you I didn't cry like a baby.
Mhm.
Cried like a baby. I was the only one in the fucking theater that actually started clapping when you see him holding the proton pack with her. But other than that, if I'll be honest, if that didn't happen, I would probably score this movie way lower. To me, I was all right. Look, I know a lot of people shit on the whole jokes, like, oh, we've heard this. This is what's the game they say it? Oh, no, not a game. What do they call it? Remember Soup or something like that, or remember this? I'm okay with that. I'm all right. I'm all right with nods to the predecessor. What came before the predecessor, but it wasn't that. It wasn't. It was just like these little things. Now, I love the way they opened it with the older Egon. They'll never show you his face, but they show you his profile and the hair, so you know who it is. I like the fact that they killed him on screen. It made the story more intriguing. And the minute he dies, I automatically already said, "Oh, well, that's why it's called Afterlife. He's going to come back as a ghost." So I already had that in mind. I already had in mind he was coming back. I didn't know how they were going to do it. It was a lot more touching than I had planned or I had envisioned, but beautiful. But there were little things. Now, first of all, also too, you take McKenna Grace out of this film, you take Phoebe out of the film, it's horrible. It's horrible. No, it's not horrible, but I absolutely loved her humor,
Yeah.
her weird jokes. What do you call a dead polar bear?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's not around anymore, or something like that. Or
Yeah.
who cares? He's dead. It was just like it was stupid because it is jokes I would crack, but it was also it portrayed Egon's dry humor. That's
Yep.
how Egon was. He was very socially awkward.
Yep.
I love the Twinkie. I love we see the Twinkie.
Mhm.
I believe in the glove compartment,
Mhm.
and also too, the Nestle's Crunch wrapper in his old suit, which what do you call Venkman gives it to him in the very original Ghostbusters when they mortgaged the house, or they put double. Forgot what it was. I think they took a second mortgage out on the house in order to fund the firehouse. Um, there were a lot of things that I did like about the film, but here's what I didn't like. I absolutely hated the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I thought, and I actually said that when I saw it in a TV spot months ago. I said, I hope this is just like a commercial, like advertising, whatever. I hope this isn't in the film. Look, it's cute, yeah. It reminded me of
Cute.
baby Groot and whatever. Yeah, it's to sell merchandise, but other than that, it makes absolutely no sense. The original premise of Stay Puft was just a different form for Gozer to take that Ray thought of. Them coming back to life made absolutely no sense. So you had that, and also them killing each other. It was funny, like you said. The perfect way to explain this film is it's fun. It's fun. Paul Rudd's hilarious. Not needed. Not needed. His character actually is not needed in the film. Why is a brilliant girl like Phoebe in fucking summer school? Why was she there? Just to meet Paul Rudd. But also, too, she might actually just like school. And that was the other thing I was thinking, well, maybe she is not, I don't want to say nerdy. Can you, yeah, I guess we can't say nerdy. She is a nerdy, very socially awkward person as well. So maybe she just wanted to go to school, but whatever. But I
Or
will say,
maybe they were transferring to a new area, and I know when I transferred to a new
you
area,
had
I
to
had to do it.
make it up.
Yeah.
Here's I'll forgive that. Finn Wolfhard's character, although we love him in Stranger Things, like you said, great actor, pointless in this film. He was literally kicked to the side. And the only thing that we did get from him was he fell in love with this girl. What I think her name was Lucky, right?
I think so.
He falls for Lucky. She kind of treats him like shit a little bit, and like he's just thrown on. They're just thrown together for no reason. We want to talk about a romance that was just thrown together out of nowhere. Was Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon's characters are like, oh, hey, looks like we're the only adults in town. You want to meet up? So
Yeah.
like it felt a little forced too. And although it was funny when they were transformed into Vince and Zool,
Yeah.
it was funny, but it was like, oh, really? All right, whatever. But I didn't mind. I didn't mind that we got a rehash because they set it up with. I think they set it up nice with Is it Ivor Shanda? What's his name? The guy that originally had the plans for the building in Ghostbusters. The guy that comes to life and what do you call it? Gozer rips him in half
Mm,
at the very end of the film. So, is it Ego Shando? Something Shandor because it's Shandor Mines, but I can't remember his first name. It's either Igor or Ivan, whatever.
oh, yeah. Hold on. You're
Either
asking the
way,
wrong person.
I'm
Yeah.
all right. I'm all right with the return of Gozer, played by the beautiful Olivia Wilde, uncredited, but it was a mixture of three people. It was three different people. It was a different voice. It was a voice actress. Her actual form was portrayed by somebody else. I think like a dancer or something like that. And Olivia Wilde played the original. What do you call it? Her form. That is true. Paul Rudd is people's sexiest man alive. He is.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I mean, the guy never ages. I feel like he looks the same like as he did in Clueless. Maybe not that young, but you know what I mean.
Kind of does a little bit.
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't, like I said before we started talking about the movie, I can't say anything wrong about Paul Rudd. You put him in anything, he's entertaining and he was funny. But his character really, like the whole, what? Oh, you know what? Somebody asked me, and I don't know how to answer this question. And maybe Crayon Dude could either answer, or you could. I'm hoping you too, Kitty. Why did Egon's ghost want Phoebe to find the trap? Now, obviously, I don't think he had it in mind that they were going to open it up like Paul Rudd does, open it up and unleash. I forgot who's trapped in there. I think it was Vince. I don't think it was Zor. I think it was Vince's. It was one of the dog ghosts. I can't remember who it was, but either way. Wait, was it? No, I think it was a different ghost because if you remember now, hold on. Now I'm second guessing myself because when they're looking at that book, right? And remember after the thing comes out of the trap, and it was this whatever creature. Podcast looks it up in the book and says who it was, and I can't remember what it was now. But I don't know if that was a ghost form of one of the dogs.
I thought it was one of the ghost forms of the dogs.
It wasn't?
I thought it was.
It was, right? That's what I thought. I'm going by what the trailers showed.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to my question, why have her find that trap? You can't reuse a trap once a ghost is in it. So what was the point of finding that trap? Other than like you could have shown her like he did, how he basically led her down to where all his stuff is, going down the pole. So that's the only thing that I didn't understand. Why show them where the trap is? Because what they unleashed is what really caused whatever to happen.
I think maybe he wanted it unleashed.
That's right, because if it doesn't
he had
happen,
all
then
that,
they can't.
all that stuff in his house ready.
That was all meant to trap Gozer.
I thought at the end because he had everything set up in his house, So I thought
set up in the house and in the dirt. That was the whole point of the dirt.
Whole point.
He wasn't growing anything because all the traps, everything was under there.
And then everybody thought he was a freaking psycho, but for all those years, he was trying to set something out of his house too.
Yeah.
So
that was the ultimate trap. All right, so you answered that question. But my other problem was too, and I was worried about this before I seen the movie, was how much ghost busting were the kids going to do and how believable was it going to be. It was fun to watch. And as smart as Phoebe was, and I know, yes, his ghost, his spirit was kind of leading her and guiding her through certain steps, but it wasn't as believable when they were busting ghosts. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Switch Me On was exactly what Dan Aykroyd says as a Ray in the original Ghostbusters. How'd she notice it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just little things that I understand they were using as nods to the original film, but he was wearing Ray's goggles from Ghostbusters when they were driving and he was using the remote control trap. How you see, like, I don't know. There's a little things where how are they doing these things as kids? How do they dress up in the suits? I don't care how much you roll them up.
Oh, I
Those
know.
shits were form fitting.
When I saw that, I was like, that was the one part that I was like, I was sitting in the chair and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like they're all busting ghosts. Lucky's dressed up as a Ghostbuster too. They're all whatever. And even when, and let's also be honest too. And here's the other thing that it's upsetting, but at the same time, there's no way around it. You wanted the original Ghostbusters in it. They were, but they're old. And it was a little, with the exception of Winston. Winston still looks great. I think that's why they chose him for the end credits that we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, you know, it just seemed off when, like, you know, the dialogue between them, the jokes. Venkman's was my favorite Ghostbuster of all time. Loved him not only in the movie version, but even in the cartoon version. But, you know, just like, you know, I the only thing I did enjoy, and I always wondered if they were going to do it because, you know, it was rumored that Gozer was coming back. I said to myself, I wonder if she's going to ask Ray if he's a god, and they were going to do the callback to the original, and he's like, yes, because of the, you know, what happened was last time. They're like, Ray, if somebody asks you you're a god, you say yes. That was Winston that said that. But podcast annoyed me a lot.
I thought he was cute. I liked
He was
him.
great. No, he was funny. It was a good comedic element. But his character annoyed me in a sense where, like I said, him and Phoebe picked this up way too fast. It was way too fast. I like that they did show her struggling a little bit with the proton back, which is very believable. It was heavy for an adult male, let alone, you know, however old she is. What do you think she was in this movie? Like 11 or 12? Maybe 13?
Maybe 12-ish.
Yeah. So she did struggle a little bit, but with the
I
pack,
don't understand McKenna Grace. How old is she in real life?
I think around 14, 15. But how she looked in Ghostbusters Afterlife and how she looks in real life, completely different.
Yeah, because I just saw her in Handmaid's Tale, and I legit thought she was like 17.
She looks older. She does look older than they portrayed her in the series. I mean, in the movie, 100%. Because I even did a double take. I was like, wait a minute, because I saw her either at a press or something like that for the film, and I'm like, wait a minute, how old is she? Yeah. But also too, it was also this was filmed in like 2019, right? Because the pandemic, I believe, delayed it for a year.
Delayed it.
It was supposed to come out in 2020. So, yeah. That being said, it did disappoint to an extent, only because I had high expectations for it, but wasn't a bad movie by any means. I would never tell anybody not to go see it. I think it definitely deserves to be watched, especially if you're an original Ghostbusters fan. I think even more so if you're not an original Ghostbusters fan. I think you might even enjoy it more have you not been a fan of the original. It's good to have not only Easter eggs but reference points to certain jokes or certain Easter eggs, but to enjoy it fresh from a perspective either as a kid or just a young adult, I think you would get more of enjoyment out of the film. But coming from an OG fan, I'm not saying that they were underutilized. I think we got the perfect amount of the Ghostbusters. I kind of assumed that they weren't going to come until the very end when things got out of hand. I like that they crossed the streams. I questioned how she was able to uncross them. I didn't understand that. I didn't know that was a thing, but it was in this film. So she uncrosses the streams, and it's not until until Finn and them also hit her. And then, of course, McKenna Grace with the help of Egon, which, again, very touching. Yeah. They did a beautiful tribute to Harold Ramis, who died back in 2014. And it sucked when he died because I remember saying, well, I guess we're never going to get Ghostbusters 3 because I've been waiting for this film really since 1989. I
Yeah.
couldn't wait. And the one big continuity error, if they would have turned around and said Ghostbusters 2 never happened, this is a direct sequel to the first one, it would have made sense. Ecto 1 was like completely changed in Ghostbusters 2. Had like all these different lights, all these different gadgets on it, and then you see it in the garage because they only have one, and it was reverted back to its original form. So I was just found that a little weird. But I just want to make sure that I got everything. Oh, let me ask you this. I know Phoebe is a different child. Very different. Different humor, different even the way she handles her emotions. She's even proven that she doesn't even show her emotions the right way. She doesn't know how. That being said, if you see a chess piece floating and you're playing chess with a ghost, you're not going to run and tell your mother? As a kid, I would have been like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like nothing else, nothing happened. Oh, well, I guess the knight just took my no, wait. What's the horse? The horse is the knight. The horse is the knight.
Yeah.
Knight just took my pawn. I guess that's normal.
I just think that.
Yes, and that's a very good question. And they reference that too, Crayon Dude. The Ghostbusters, they don't just reference. So they reference. Here's the cool thing about it. And I was saying this, but you even bring this up too. They reference the first film. There are a couple of Easter eggs and nods to the second film. They reference the Ghostbusters cartoon, the real Ghostbusters, with certain things. They reference the toys. So that one, I forgot when it was, but it's obviously around the time where they're driving through. I think it's when they're driving through the what do you call it, the town in the car. There's this one ghost that pops out with the one big eyeball. That's a nod to one of the toys I had as a kid, which was I think also part of the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon. And the video game was also referenced. There was a couple of references to the video game as well. Yeah, I had that game. It was great. It was. And like you said, for the most part, and for a very long time, that was considered to be Ghostbusters 3. Like, that was probably the only thing we were going to get. So, that was really good. And the other thing, too, them killing off Egon was a plot point and also a plot... what's a draft or a scenario that Venkman, Bill Murray wanted for Venkman. I remember years ago when they were talking about doing a Ghostbusters 3, he had said either in an interview or something like that, he goes, yeah, I wanted to be killed off and come back as a ghost. So they used his idea, but they just flipped it for Egon, who Harold Ramis died in real life. And one other thing that made no sense, and then I'll stop bashing the movie for a minute. She makes the one phone call when she's in jail, and she calls Razor Colt, right? Which is great. Makes sense. She wanted to reach out to a Ghostbuster. Who are you going to call? As he says. But here's the problem with that. He gave her so much information for not knowing who this is on the other line, what this call's about. He basically put us as the audience as well, obviously, up to speed where Venkman is, where what Winston's doing right now, how they, Egon could die a rotten hell or die in hell. Like, it was like these little things where, like, right, if I was Ray, I would have hung up minutes ago. It was just really weird. I was just like, oh, this is like a weird conversation right now. Like, Ray, you're telling somebody you don't know a lot of information. The only thing you didn't hit on was your Social Security.
Sometimes you just think way too much into movies.
Well, because I wanted this movie to be really good. And, I know you gave it a 7.5. I'm probably right there. I'll probably give it a 7. I do. Because I didn't hate the film. And I would watch it again. As soon as it comes out on digital, I'll probably watch it. I'll buy it. Hopefully, it's got some cool deleted scenes. I think I read somewhere an alternate ending. I'm not really sure. And also, let's talk about now the possibilities of what we're going to get afterwards with the end credit scene. Now, the mid credit scene was just a nod to the original film. I'm glad we got to see Dana Barrett. She's wearing a ring, so I don't know if they're alluding to the fact that her and Peter are married.
Yeah,
but I do like the playfulness where she's, testing him with the what do you call it? The is it ESP? Is that what it was that it's testing?
Yeah, his psychic abilities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that episode. That episode. I love that scene in the movie where the guy actually gets one of them right, and he still shocks him. But so he's guessing all guessing the cards right, and then she's like, "Do you have these marked?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have them marked." But then we get the other end credit scene, and this one they give you a deleted scene from the original Ghostbusters, a dialogue between Janine and Harold Ramis. I'm sorry, Janine and I don't know why
Egon.
I keep saying their real names and
Yeah,
their
Egon.
yeah, Egon, with the coin from the World's Fair. And she said, "Oh, don't worry, I have another one." And you see her holding that second one, and she's in the lobby about to talk to Winston. And then we also get from a different scene where the ghost, the Ecto One is back to New York now. It's back to where and driving into the old firehouse, and we get a blinking light in the old ghost containment unit. So obviously hinting at a sequel.
Yep.
And at what capacity the original Ghostbusters will be in this one. Looks like Winston's going to be a lot more hands-on, especially since he's got the money now, and he's been financing. We also find out he's been financing Ray's bookstore as well, keeping the lights on there, and like I said, keeping the lights on in the firehouse.
Yep.
And the other thing is too, it's not really. It's hinted at, but it's not really known what nature of what nature of a relationship, I should say, what there was between Janine and Egon. Was she just a caretaker at his older age? But they did flirt in the original film. Now, I know the second film strayed from that. She started having like a little love affair with Tully, who was played by Rick Moranis. But in the cartoon, she had a crush on Egon, and in the original film, they seem to have been flirting back and forth. But who knows? Who knows what was going on? Obviously, he had a kid, so he had to have been with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough to make a continuation movie to a memorable classic movie series like Star Wars and Ghostbusters. It is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, a lot of these new movies try to hook the fans up in nostalgic scenes and Easter eggs, and that's very, very true. And that's what I was talking about, the remember soup, or I forgot the exact word, but remember when, or remember this, or remember that. And it's when you see the characters on the screen for the first time and you see them as the older selves, it takes you out of it a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I think that was my biggest downfall with the movie. It's just, if you want to do a Ghostbusters Afterlife and continue the movie with these characters and involve the older characters, great. But I think there was too much of the old movie nostalgia feeling. Like Cobra Kai does a really good balance of that nostalgia and bringing the new elements together. And I was expecting this movie to do that.
That's what I was hoping too. I mean, at least what they could have done. And Dot City's had a kid apparently. Yeah, that's true. And we find out that it was just a clone of him. It was all it was a clone of himself, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that what we would find out in The Rise of Skywalker? That was just a clone?
I think so.
Yeah. But either way, look. I got sidetracked. What did you just literally just say right before that?
I just said that, like Cobra Kai does a really good.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
So I envisioned them coming at the end with the kids struggling and things just got out of hand and the real Ghostbusters had to step in. But maybe it could have served it better with them being more of a mentor. That would have explained how they picked up the use of these things, then passed the torch later on in the film.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
I just think that they were used wrong, although I did kind of figure they were coming at the end anyway. But I would have liked to have seen more interaction with them and the kids, them picking up little things, especially Phoebe, because she's smart, but let her seeing it in firsthand, seeing them actually busting ghosts. The fact that they drive in the car. Now, I'm not saying Finn Wolfhard can't drive a car, but apparently he had a little bit of trouble. But everything else seemed to come very easy for them. The gunner seat, and she's shooting whatever, and and then of course, like I said, the podcast was controlling the little remote control trap, and it was just like, all right, what's going on? They're kids, they're babies.
it was like just because like some of them were like blood related, it was like inherently passed down. Just like, oh yeah, I'm in this gunner seat. You know what I mean? Yeah, it
Well,
just felt weird.
here's a really good point to that. So Mad Max did it the best way they could, right? They didn't use like an old Mel Gibson didn't show up and and what do you call it? And was Mad Max. They used somebody else. It was a different. It was the best way to revamp the series. Mad Max was, I think, a little bit. Mad Max is a little more doable because if you want to talk about completely revamping the series and using completely different actors and actresses, that's exactly what the 2016 Ghostbusters did, and nobody liked it because they shied away from the lore. They shied away from what was before. This one does it. I mean, they do it extensively. They do it over the top, maybe even sometimes. But also, too, I didn't know if you noticed the girl behind the desk at the jail, right, is Dan Aykroyd's daughter.
Oh,
I found that out after I saw the movie. And then when I was looking at pictures of her, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, that looks exactly like Dan when he was younger.
yeah.
So she has a smaller role in
I
that. But
think
yeah,
he was,
so
I think he was trying to do too much righting the wrongs that he put too much.
there was too many Easter eggs.
Yeah, too many Easter eggs,
Like
and
too
that
many.
there would have been an, it would have been an, if there he pulled back just a tiny bit, this movie would have just been really exceptional.
They even, apparently, and I can't believe somebody picked it up, Phoebe's wearing a shirt at one point in the movie where it looks like polka dots, right? But if you zoom in, it's all four shapes. I don't know if there was. I thought there was more than four cards shown in the original film, but either way, there were about 4 or 5 designs on the shirt that mirrored the ESP cards, the wavy lines, the star. Like first of all, nobody's gonna really catch that right away anyway. But did you really need like that? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But I will say another tear-jerking moment was when she found out that he was tracking her, her whole life, her whole adult life.
yeah,
In Carrie Coon, he was watching her, and he really did make a huge sacrifice in doing what he did.
yeah.
And I do also like the fact, was it Ray that turned around and apologizes to him and says, "I'm sorry, my friend," or I forgot what it was, or was it Venkman? I thought it was Ray.
Yeah, I think it was Dan Aykroyd's character.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think Ray's the one that did that. I thought that was also touching. Um, it did, like I said, there were scenes where it made me laugh, especially with Paul Rudd. And McKenna Grace's very dry humor, but on purpose. Um, but also some scenes I just felt like maybe fell a little flat. So, but as I said, for all what do you call it? For all that it's worth, I definitely recommend going to see it, especially if you're a Ghostbusters
you
fan.
know what, when I after, especially, I just want to say this one last piece. Like they had all the nostalgia hits, like do 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 do. Where was my Slimer? You know,
I thought
they
the
put,
same thing. They
they
replaced it with this ghost called
Muncher,
Muncher.
yeah. I was like, you hit all these nostalgia points, like bam, 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 bam. No Slimer.
I thought we were going to get Slimer at one point at the end, or maybe even what do you call it, as an end credit scene. But here's my thing: the last time we seen him in was in Ghostbusters 2. He drives the bus to which he's the one that brings Lewis to the museum or whatever on New Year's Eve to to shoot the outside, and then Lewis is the one who thinks that he's the one that did it and save the day. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know what happens to Slimer after that,
I don't either.
because I was thinking about
Didn't he make an appearance in the girl movie?
it's possible, but I tried forgetting that film. It
It
is
wasn't
possible.
that bad. It wasn't
No,
that
no, yeah, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. But Chris Hemsworth was the best part of that film. But even if Slimer did show up in that film, it wouldn't have mattered because, it's not it is not canon anyway. So, but I'm just trying to remember, because the reason why I say that is, remember the light at the end with the containment unit. There's something in there. I don't think that's Slimer, because Slimer was never caught.
No, I don't think so either.
But yeah, no, I honestly thought we were going to get Slimer.
I did
Like
too.
you said, I would rather Slimer than what do you call it? The Stay Puft. And oh god, I love the reference. Thank you so much. High C Ecto Cooler back then. The box cartons had Slimer on the front. Those were the best.
Ecto Cooler was awesome.
And they brought it back briefly. I can
Mhm.
never find it.
Yeah,
They brought it back for a brief. When was that? A couple years ago? I can't remember.
maybe it was a
I
couple of
think it was
years
around
ago.
the time when the other movie came out, right?
Maybe, yeah. It'd be cool if they brought it back right now.
Why wouldn't they? That didn't make any sense. It would make
Well,
more
I don't think
sense.
they can't. Why would they bring it back, especially with Slimer on it? They
Well,
can't bring it back.
they would have to put Muncher on the
Yeah,
front.
but that wouldn't hit the nostalgia of Ecto Cooler. That'd be
Well,
weird.
I just want it for the taste. I want to see if it's got the same taste. Remember, our taste buds as kids is completely different from now. But
That
I
is
wonder.
true. It probably tastes like garbage now.
I can't eat a Twinkie for the life of me. I used to love Twinkies growing
Oh,
up. I can't eat
yeah.
one now. They taste like shit.
Hmm.
But like I said, but those little references there, the Twinkie, yes, 100%. You put that in there. Nestle's Crunch Bar wrapper, 100%. That's great. Those are little nods. Those are little things that only really big fans are gonna remember. Oh shit, yeah, he does give him a Nestle's Crunch Bar. But when you're hitting it, boom, 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 right away, that's what she said. It's just at one point it loses its luster. And the one thing that you probably could have served putting in this film is Slimer, and they went with a different ghost. And there
Yeah.
wasn't even that many ghosts in this film either. You know, you had the two dogs, you know, with the which attacks one in a Walmart, attacks Paul Rudd in a Walmart,
Yeah.
and then takes over his body. Then you got the other one that takes over Carrie Coon's character, and and then what else you got? You got the eyeball one. You got Muncher. You got the guy in the diner, which is a nod to the taxi cab in the original. You know what? It would have been great too. You know what I was hoping for? I can't remember who sings the song. I thought it was Prince growing up, but I don't think it's Prince anymore. But remember when the ghosts get unleashed into the city, you know, and Sigourney Weaver's looking all sexy as Zool, and she's looking out of her high-rise apartment, and you see all these flashing. They use the similar colors though. I thought they were going to use that same song. I think it's called "It's Magic" or something like that, or Magic. If you look at the Ghostbusters soundtrack and you look for a song, I think it has the words "magic" in it. I was hoping they were going to play that song with that beat.
Mhm.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
You gotta learn. Come on, Jason. What did you do?
There's some nostalgia. There were some things that could have been there and were in there. There's some things you just could have taken out. We didn't need it. We didn't need it.
I would have, I would have loved. Like I said, I would have loved if they would have held back on, or maybe given a better explanation, or just better mentoring of them to be able to use the equipment as fast as they were. Again, I'm not taking anything away from the brilliance of Phoebe's character because she is the granddaughter of Egon Spengler, and all this stuff that she was fascinated with. I mean, we open up with her in the apartment, fucking around with the electricity and shit like that. And she's into, like I said, she's into things that normal kids her age aren't.
Yeah.
And also not into her feelings. So, but at the same time, it was just like these little things. We're like, all right, I guess they're Ghostbusters now. These little kids are busting ghosts. It was just weird. That's all.
Yep.
But no, but as I said, go watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
Definitely worth seeing. I can't wait to see what we get next from this franchise. I just hope it's executed just a little bit more better, and also give us some Easter eggs that weren't used in this one, but tone them down a little bit. Because now you don't have to do that. Because now the new film will just be feeding off of this one. We already know what came before.
Yep.
Unless what do you call it? Vigo is going to be the next one to get resurrected from part 2.
Yeah.
I also would have loved a Rick Moranis cameo, but I
I
know,
was just gonna say that a Rick Moranis cameo would be awesome.
yeah, but he's no longer into acting. So anyway, it would have been nice to see him. It would have. But all right, guys, that's pretty much it. As I said, I'd probably give the movie 7 out of 10. I know Kitty gives it a 7.5 out of 10, which I think are both respectable scores for us having the bar as high as we had it. and the expectations were so high, as you said, coming off of the son of Ivan Reitman, knowing Ivan was also a producer on this, so he was there for a lot of consultation. You had Venkman. See what I keep doing? I keep putting their stage names with whatever. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and even I know your name, Ernie Hudson's character. Where you had them on set too to give, you know, a little consultation here too. I mean, these guys have been part of this for nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
But
that was like a main, like, those guys were like big stars back then, and now you got this group of big stars now.
Yeah.
You know, with your Carrie Coon and your McKenna Grace and your Paul Rudd and your can't remember what's a Wolf something.
Finn Wolfhard. But even, I don't we know. But the other thing is too, now they're no longer in Oklahoma, right? They seem to be focused back into New York. So we don't even know if these characters that were there are going to be even now. Remember, Carrie Coon and Phoebe and then Finn are originally from New York. They had to move because they got evicted. So who knows if their financial situation gets is different now because of Winston. But we have no idea what characters will be in this new film. If there isn't, we don't even really know if there's going to be something after this. We're just assuming because it's teased, but you know, who knows? But it's curious to know what they're going to do and who's going to be a part of it and how.
Yeah.
So I started getting a little tickle. I got one last question, then we'll wrap up. Rick Moranis retired from acting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I believe right after his wife died.
Yeah.
After his wife died, he retired from acting to basically be at home with his family. The firehouse is still in Manhattan. Oh, and that was the other thing though too. So unless he just truly believed it was turned into a Starbucks, but it wasn't, because we clearly saw it was never a Starbucks. Like, it was in bad shape when the car gets pulled up. It's just being kept alive by finance. But
yeah.
So why did Paul Rudd was the one that said that, right? Oh, whatever. Now it's a Starbucks. I think Paul Rudd's. I don't think it was Ray that said that. Unless he says.
Why would Paul Rudd's character say that?
Well, because he was going over all the things that happened in Manhattan and how they were Manhattan. They were royalty back in the 80s, and they were whatever. And that's the other thing too. Like, the fact that this was never passed on to generations like that. Like, how do you not know who the Ghostbusters were, especially if you lived in New York? In Carrie Coon telling that to whatever, because she knew who her father was. Why wouldn't you pass that on to your children to let them know what their grandfather was, no matter how much resentment you had? But the thing is, they saved the world. Like, they saved New York, I get it, but they saved the world. Like, a fucking huge marshmallow man attacked New York. The Statue of Liberty came to life.
Yeah.
Like, how those stories weren't told for generations is just baffling to me. But it might have been Ray when he's talking to her on the phone, when he was giving her all, like I said, all the catching her up to speed. But maybe that's what Winston told him, and he didn't want to tell him that he was keeping it open. Yeah. That's also another thing that's possible. But I can't wait for hopefully something really good to come from this. And another sequel and another chance to see the Ghostbusters in action, hopefully in a different capacity, but also hopefully utilized in a different and better way. Yeah. But Kitty, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. We just did our spoiler review for Hawkeye episode 3. So that's on the channel now. We're about to take about a 15-minute break, which almost aligns us with 8 o'clock, actually. And we're going to be doing our spoiler review for the Chucky, the series that's on Sci-Fi, but the season finale of Chucky. So if you're watching this live now, which Crayon Dude you are, we're going to be doing that around 8 o'clock. But if you're not, you're watching this recorded, it's already up on my channel, so enjoy. Kitty, I'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you. See you later.
All right, Crayon Dude, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the conversation. Have a great weekend, and hopefully I will see you soon as well.
Thanks, Crayon Dude.